What's it like being a gay man who's a Republican? Because the stereotype is that the standard Republican class wants nothing to do with your
That's
your
not
kind.
true.
You don't think that?
That's totally. Some of the top influencers on the conservative side of the spectrum are gay. Scott Pressler, Rob Smith, myself, Brandon Strock, David Leatherwood, known as Brokeback Patriot on social media. Like, the dude's like a troll, right? We're all gay. None of us talk about being gay. Right. You know why? It doesn't matter.
Well, because it's bad for your
No, it doesn't matter. Oh,
party,
hell
right?
no. The entire world knew I was gay, and I got elected. You know, like I went into an election in a conservative suburban district, and I got elected overwhelmingly.
Right.
Being gay.
But the Republicans, they're a big tent party. Like they're going to take in the gays. They're going to take in the alt-right guys. They're going to take in the Nazis. Let's go.
I don't know about Nazis. I don't know.
But they don't exactly do a lot to disavow the Nazis either, right?
I did. I mean, anybody who has Nazi tendencies, I'm the first one to say F you. So I don't know what to say Nazi. I'm like, yeah, we have a very right conservative leaning of the wing of the party, and most mainstream media have placed me there for the simple fact that I vote conservatively, right? Fiscal issues. Oh, George Santos doesn't support DEI in the military. No, DEI ain't gonna win wars.
Well, how do you not support it in the military, but you're kind of supporting it in the WNBA?
I don't support it. I'm just making an argument for it. You know, like you gotta be play devil's advocate if you're gonna be in public discourse, right? But the way I look at it is, look, Congress, you want to take the biggest bullshitter you know, they don't come to the foot of a congressperson. Like, they don't even measure. You can conjure up the biggest bullshit artist you know in your life. You can't, any low-ranking member of Congress can beat them in heartbeat.
But you got to give it to the Republicans that it felt like they were kind of slow to oust you. It feels like the Democrats probably would have been eager to do so, right?
I suffered multiple attempts at expulsion, censorship, all sorts of stuff. At the end of the day, the reason I got ousted and I was expelled was because Kevin McCarthy was removed from the speakership. And at that point, instead of having my back, which he did have my back, because it was the right thing to do, right? Allegations are not convictions. What the ethics committee did is bullshit. Right. I mean, the chair of ethics is the most unethical member in the House, but he chairs ethics. Who's policing him? Nobody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nobody. His son's a bad drunk and drug user and is assaulting police officers in Tennessee. He's calling up journalists and other members of Congress to try to put a lid on the story. So don't let it come out. Don't let it come out. We'll do whatever it takes. Like offering exclusive interviews to journalists in lieu of not reporting facts. Where's the ethics?
So because you didn't have necessarily the same deep roots in the party, you think that they were
McCarthy
quick to get rid of you?
McCarthy was ousted. McCarthy was mad. McCarthy didn't move a finger to tell his people, hey, don't do this, it's stupid. Quite frankly, there would have been an incentive to weaken the new speaker, because then it's reprisal to everyone who voted to oust him. And it's also reprisal to be like, you see, without me, you guys are falling apart. And it's true. I was expelled, 3 other members retired, McCarthy included. It's falling apart. It's falling at the seams. It's like quite amusing to watch.
Right. What is your personal level of celebrity like when you walk around the streets of Manhattan? Like, is it overwhelming, or is it?
It's overwhelming depending on time of day and
You've
location.
had a lot of different looks as well. Like there's a lot of different versions of George Santos, like that I thought was going to be showing up. Like you kind of give off a different energy in a suit rather than.
I know,
what you're
right?
wearing today.
Oh, really? Did I do too casual? I could have.
No, I think it's great.
Oh.
But I'm just saying, like, I don't know that to the average person on the street, they're going to necessarily read you as George Santos.
They don't. Yeah. So when I walk around more casual, it's harder to clock me.
Right.
The moment I'm in the sweater vest, which is all winter long, in the summer they have a harder time identifying who I am because I dress completely different than how I'm pictured often, right? So in the winter, it's more chaos energy for sure. But I was not wearing a suit to your podcast.
Right, yeah. You gotta play for your market. So what do you think your future might be in politics going forward? Like, could you see yourself being like a podcaster, a media personality if you don't actually end up in office again? Or
I'll be back in office. That's inevitable.
Oh, okay.
That's inevitable because I want to, and everything you put your mind to is accomplishable, right? So long as you dedicate yourself to. And B, I'm definitely going to be doing some media for the shorter term period. That's definitely where I'm going. direction I'm going. People seem to want to hear what I have to say. Every podcast I go on or everything I do with it, I did a Z-Way podcast. I don't know if you know who she is.
Yeah.
Dude, that blew up.
Right.
And people still call me today to talk about that podcast. And every other subsequent podcast that I've done. Or
you didn't have any complaints about how she treated you?
No, she wasn't prepared. She was totally unprepared to interview me.
Right.
Because she thought she was just going to come for me, and she didn't realize she was coming for a gay man that's witty and that's going to clap back. And I clapped back at every corner that she turned, and you could see her face. After the interview was done, she's like, wow, that was interesting. I'm like, yeah, you weren't ready.
Right, you're like the rare person that managed to get one over on her?
I think I was like the first person to ever get one over on her.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
Because she clearly was speechless in her own show.
I'm not going on that shit.
You should. It's fun.
I feel like it's a little too much. It's too much of a setup.
She's a character.
Unless you go into it with a planned routine, basically on deck, that is going to kind of overpower whatever she's coming with. But then they control the edit. They control the edit, so it's like you're already kind of at a
editing was on her side, and I still had a bunch of one-overs on her.
Yeah,
Editing couldn't beat me.